Personally for me, every celebration is incomplete without baking a batch of brownies and eating them. So in today's episode of Festive Baking with Shivesh, we're making chikki brownies, which is giving my brownies a desi twist. Chikki is a brittle made with gur and dry fruits and is a staple in our house during winters. So I'm super excited to bring the two together. Let's get started. So I'll start by making the chikki for the brownies first. I have some powdered jaggery here. I'll spread it into an even layer on the pan and let this cook and melt with 1.5 tablespoons of water. The jaggery has melted completely. It's now time to add in the dry fruits. I'm using a mix of peanuts, pecan nuts and almonds. You could use any nuts that you like or have at hand. Alright, now that all the dry fruits are nicely coated with the gur caramel, I'm going to transfer this onto this baking tray lined with a silicone mat. You could also use parchment paper. So I'm going to let this sit at room temperature and harden, and meanwhile we can start working on the brownie batter. So I'm going to start by melting some 70% dark chocolate with some salted butter. So this is done. Now this needs to cool and come to room temperature. Meanwhile, in a large bowl, I'll combine eggs, sugar and jaggery. I would recommend you mix the eggs with sugar and jaggery very well, because this is what would give your brownies a beautiful crinkle top, which is my favorite part of a brownie. Also, I'm making my brownies with eggs today, but I also have an eggless version of brownies on my channel. You could use that recipe to make chikki brownies. I'll leave the link to them in the description box below. Now that everything's nicely combined, I can start adding the dry ingredients. I'm adding maida, which is all-purpose flour, cocoa powder and baking powder. And now I'm going to mix everything until the batter comes together. So the brownie batter has come together beautifully. I've also preheated my oven to 180 degrees Celsius. I'll roughly chop the chikki now and mix it into my batter. So the brownie batter is ready. I have this 9 by 13 inch baking pan here, which I've lined with parchment paper and leaving extra handles on both the sides so that I can pull the brownies out once they're done. I'm going to transfer the batter and then pop this into the oven. So the brownies are out of the oven, they smell irresistible, but I'm going to cut them only after they come to room temperature. If you feel the need, you could also set them in the fridge for a while so that all the butter and chocolate that we've put in firm up and give your brownies some structure. So I'm going to cut my brownies into small bite-sized squares, then pipe a generous amount of chocolate ganache on top, Sprinkle some chopped chickpea, and for that festive feel, some gold leaf. I love how these fudgy brownies get that crunch from the good caramelized nuts. I think bringing chickpea and brownies together was definitely a good idea. If you love brownies as much as I do, you definitely need to try the chickpea version, and I promise you, you'd be hooked. So try this recipe out, share it with your friends or family, or maybe not, but have a great festive season and let me know how this recipe turns out. And if you're enjoying the festive baking series on the channel, give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys next week.